this has been a while.
So long.
1.5 years, maybe. It was May last year. And we made a bit of a habit out of doing these talking Hyvä things while we were still, I was still working on the team and you were still working on the admin grids, and we checked in on each other, or we caught up on what we were doing. And that was what talking Hyvä was. And then once we started working together and you became part of Hyvä, we've been talking so much every time, like all of the time, that we don't really need to catch up. But these calls were, these recordings were so nice to do. And this was a good time to do another episode of Talking Hyvä.
I agree. Any time is a good time.
So with
now
that,
is a particularly good time. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Talking Hyvä, episode 7, I think. Really, we got to 5 or 4, I think, and then we did 2 a showcase with Cream, and then we showed the Hyvä widgets. So the last time we recorded was Hyvä widgets, and so many things happened in the meantime. Let's quickly get caught up, catch people up. Let's do that. So one really cool thing that we did today, finally, we announced it a year ago, but we've been working on a new website because the current website was still what I built in one day before Reacticon when I first announced Hyvä. And since then, we've been working with a designer, and Frank, our front-end developer, has been working on the new theming for the new website. And today we launched it. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the new website. So that's on hyvä.io, and it's a lot fresher than the previous website. There's a fair amount of content on what exactly Hyvä is and what the benefits of it are. So it's a lot less technical than it used to be. And got some nice testimonials. We've updated the blog with a couple new posts. Partners look entirely different now, so we can have a look at that in a second. Most importantly, the license page has been freshened up, so it looks a lot nicer. We're going to replace these soon with some instruction videos on getting started with Hyvä. What do you get if you buy a license?
Soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
But
it's
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't want, sorry.
No, you're right. Like I've been saying, I'm going to record videos.
We will
also over a year, and now I will finally. That's the next thing on my to-do list, so now I can. So we got a supplier overview, nicely. It's a lot more visual. Who's a partner? Who's a contributor now? Previously, we worked with the gold and silver stars. I think this speaks a lot more. It's more obvious what it means. If you're an agency working with Hyvä or an individual developer, you can simply apply to be listed here. If you're working with Hyvä, just send us an email. And then contributors can request to become a contributor if you've ever contributed to a core product or compatibility modules. So let's have a look at the partner page. It's just a lot fresher. So a listing of our agency partners who've been helping us build out our product, but also our brand, and they represent us on conferences and in podcasts, and they write articles. So it's a lot more than just building stuff at Hyvä and contributing. It's really helping us grow the Hyvä brand. Our technical partners have grown a lot in the last year. I think most of the bigger extension developers, like you already saw, MSD with Webcall, MageWorks, Mirasfit, Yayuma, BSS Commerce, all extension developers that have many extensions, and they've been working very hard on making extensions compatible. Some of them really have the aim to make all of their extensions compatible. And through here, you can go to a listing. Most cases we link directly to overview page. Like if we go to the one from MST, you can see they have a separate category listing the extensions that are compatible with Hyvä. And they have a public roadmap that's on Trello. You can see the whole page is filled with Hyvä stuff they're working on. So that's an excellent sign of how much they are working on Hyvä compatibility. And that's really be a key turn point for us when we got all of those extension vendors on board working on Hyvä compatibility, which we worked on really hard. Was really a blessing when all of those extension vendors came on board. And you've played a very big role there, Vinai, working on videos, instruction videos. We can show that YouTube. Well, let's go there through the docs. I don't even think our documentation was public when we last recorded.
No, true.
So if you go to docs.hyvä.io to the teams and then compatibility modules, you can find the first video out of the series. You recorded all of these videos on how to approach Hyvä compatibility, coming from Luma perspective, how you rewrite an extension to make it Hyvä compatible.
Yeah, that was like, I took one example, sorry to interrupt, I just want to talk too. It's not a complete coverage of every potential thing you might have to do to make a module Hyvä compatible. It's just an example where I took one extension from Headworks in that case, banner extension, and I went step by step and recorded every step of making that compatible, just so there's a nice example for many scenarios. And hopefully it'll be enough to get everybody up on board what it requires. And it starts by setting up a development environment, so really from scratch. If you already have that, you can skip the first 5 or 6 of those videos and just go straight into the Hyvä related stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. Also written content too.
Yeah, I mean, props to you for all of the documentation you see here. You pretty much wrote all of that, apart from the start that I made for the Hyvä team early on. But most of this all comes from you, and it's excellent. Like, we get a lot of compliments on the quality of the documentation, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's ongoing. Like almost every week I write stuff for it. So yeah, I'm happy people like it.
For extension vendors, we offer this documentation. They can apply to get access to Hyvä to learn and to make their extensions compatible. We have this extension vendor channel, private channel on Slack only for extension developers, where they can ask their questions and they can also kind of help each other out. So we do a lot of effort to help extension vendors get everything compatible. And luckily that's paid off. So I want to give a quick shout out to our currently only hosting partner, but we're talking to other hosting providers as well to collaborate more. Hypernode is actually offering all our hosting for the Hyvä and the demo site. And we're collaborating with MultiSafePay among some other payment providers to offer compatibility with our checkouts as well. We recently did our first Hyvä hackathon in the Netherlands, which was a collaboration also with MultiSafePay and Hypernode and XCOM, a Dutch agency. So yeah, that's really great. In addition to that, and I'm gonna let you talk a bit about the checkout in a second. I just want to round up a little bit more on the website, and then we can switch topics. So the Hyvä checkout is a whole new checkout that we're writing aside from the React checkout, which is free and open source. This is a product that we're working on together with One Step Checkouts. They bring a lot of experience to the table. And our Willem from the Netherlands, our colleague, he built MageWire, and we hired him to, he started working for us to build this checkout with MageWire, and it makes it super fast, and customizations and everything are much easier to do. Performance is much better. So we're really looking forward to launching this product. We're running the beta currently. People can sign up by using our contact form and sending an email to checkout@hyvä.io. Yeah, that's moving fast now. I think before the end of the year, we might be able to even launch this. Other product is Hyvä UI, which we've been working on. Frank, our front-end developer, has been working on this already for over a year together with a designer. Yeah, that's going to contain a lot of standard team components that you just copy and paste into your team, and it just works out of the box. So if it's a newsletter subscription, it contains all the logic from Magento to actually do the form validation and send the email address to the newsletter. But also the styling and JavaScript is included with Tailwind and Alpine. So everything just works by dropping one HTML file, one template file into your team. So that's really powerful. We have a bunch of components ready, and we're just working towards releasing this through a website where you can distribute it. And then one final thing that I'm excited about, because other things changed as well. We have a commercial director, someone many people for the Magento community will already know. That's Sanne. She comes from the Magento world. She's been a sales manager at Hypernode for many years. So it's almost been a decade that she's also been in the Magento community. And yeah, she's handling all of the commercial aspects at Hyvä now. So yeah, and meanwhile, since the last recording we did, you became partner and technical director, Vinai, and we have Frank and the other Willem, which currently make up our whole team. Okay, cool. So yeah, another thing we've talked about for a long time before we launched it was upgrading Alpine and Tailwind, our main libraries in the team, and we pushed that back for a long time because we first wanted to like fully get all of the features into the team so that people didn't need to upgrade necessarily to the new library versions for backward compatibility. And then when we launched it, we did it in a way that anyone can quite easily upgrade to Alpine free and Tailwind free. And the pity there is that the developers of those libraries incorporated, especially with Alpine, there were some changes that were unnecessary, renaming certain attributes or certain methods, which breaks backward compatibility. So we took it on ourselves to work around that, and that's actually what you mostly did. So yeah, sure. Please show how that works exactly.
The thing, we put a lot of emphasis on being backward compatible.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, if the underlying libraries don't do that, then they're kind of out of luck. And in general, there are very good upgrade guides, right? So in the docs, each thing that needs to be converted is cleanly documented. There's a video how to do it. Same for Tailwind CSS. There's also an upgrade guide there, which I basically followed, trying to automate as much as possible. Here's the upgrade guide. Okay, so all of this is very well documented, but nevertheless, some of these changes are just very repetitive, and especially for Alpine, there are some that actually are required, and we try to make that as easy as possible. And for this, we created a little upgrade helper script. And the way that works is it's meant to be run off as like a one-off thing, right? So it's not something you install and keep. It's more like a script you can use. And to get it, it's on GitLab. There it is, upgrade helpers. That's the repo name, right? So the idea is you basically clone that. And I've already got that here in my instance right here. And it's been some time that I've ran, like this was maybe a month or 6 weeks ago that I haven't touched it in a while. Yeah, so let's see if that works. So the idea is currently, let me see. I'm on the 1.1.x branch of our theme here, right? So if I want to upgrade a custom theme, I can use this upgrade helper script to do the upgrade. And we actually did use the upgrade helper for our script too, right? That's basically our test case. The script won't catch everything, but it'll catch a lot. So to run it, just clone the script anywhere. So I just put it here into the Magento directory and we'll delete it after the upgrade. And there's one main script in the bin directory, and it will upgrade both Tailwind and Alpine. But all this little script does is it will run 2 other scripts, one for applying the Alpine upgrades and one for applying the Tailwind upgrades, right? But if you just want to convert everything so it's ready with Hyvä 1.2, you can just use this wrapper here. But you could just also use one of the 2. And as an argument, all that needs to be specified is a file or a directory. Right. So if you want to upgrade a full theme, you specify the path to a theme. If you want to upgrade just maybe one template, you can specify one template or multiple templates. And it tries to be smart about what it needs to do. So for example, let's say I want to update only one directory in a module, or well, I'll just try something from the default theme since I'm here in the version 1, right? So I'll say vendor, Hyvä themes, Magento 2 default theme, let's say Magento catalog. It could be anything, could be a Vue front-end directory inside of a module 2, right? Doesn't really matter. And well, just run it and that's it. So in this case, it didn't have to do a lot, and you can use Git basically to see what it did, right? So here you can see, oh wait, that's, let me check out these again, because they are generated when compiling the style. So that's not that interesting. Let's have a look at what it did. So here it just converted some class names and other stuff. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether, here's some Alpine compatibility stuff that got updated. Yeah, and so on. So it's possible to run that on individual themes, or oops, where am I? Oh, this shell here. Or you could just run it on a full theme. And if you run it on a full theme, it does a bit more. It also updates the dependencies and the package JSON for Tailwind. So it updates to the correct Tailwind version and all the plugins. And it updates the scripts for the invocation to compile Tailwind there. I hope this still works. As I said, it's been a few weeks that I've created this. Which still should work.
I actually ran it for a new website because we built it on version 2, and then I ran it a month ago maybe, and it was painless. It just worked.
Awesome. Yeah, in general, the feedback has been very positive, so I'm quite confident it'll do most of the way. So there are some cases where we're trying to refactor code, which is a bit more complex. So in this case, it just tells you, hey, maybe check this actually worked, right? Because it's, always a trade-off between the time spent writing this and the value it actually provides. So in this cases, I know these already work because I use these as test cases, right? But yeah, so most of the time it'll just work. And if we check all it did now, there's a lot more that happened here. So yeah, that's basically the idea. And if something didn't go well, you can always roll it back. That's the upgrade script.
What I like here is
useful.
It's so painless for existing projects to just be able to run it over your whole code base. And the other thing is that with all the compatibility extension, all the existing extensions that have been written now for Hyvä, those also can just be upgraded with a one-line script. And since our GitLab now has, I don't know how many compatibility modules do we have there? Hundreds.
Yeah.
So I think we've built a platform around an ecosystem around those two libraries, Tailwind and Alpine. And what a developer like the maker of Alpine, I think, doesn't really take into account when making changes like this is that an ecosystem exists that depends on those syntaxes that they use, and just renaming xpred to, what is it, xbind, one of those things.
Yeah, right. Xbind without an attribute name, right? So you can use xbind this attribute, or you just can use xbind. So, and then it's like xpred. So,
and then
changing the meaning of a word.
Click away when to click outside, or click outside to click away. It's just it doesn't bring extra value. It's a little semantic thing, but the impact is so big that we need to therefore we can't write a script that works both on Alpine 2 and Alpine 3, not easily at least. So it's one of those challenges that we have now that a whole ecosystem is built around it.
So may I just quick add one more note there? So after much discussion, we decided to go a route where we allow people to upgrade one theme at a time. So on multi-store instances with multiple themes, you can have some themes running on Alpine 2 and Tailwind 2, and some themes running on Alpine 3 and Tailwind 3. And we are at the moment maintaining 2 branches. So every change is applied, every new feature is available for both the Alpine 2 and the Alpine 3 version of Hyvä. And our goal is that people who don't want to upgrade, because just Alpine 2 still just works fine, right? Then they don't have to. And we'll be continuing to do that for the time to come. At some point, we might stop adding new features to the Alpine 2 version, but that's just how it is. It depends on how much maintenance work it's going to be. But for the foreseeable future, that's how we're going to proceed.
Yeah, one of the nice things about Alpine 3 is that they started making these components and little libraries. Like we already had xintersect that we ported from Alpine 3 to Alpine 2, so that when you scroll an element into view, you can trigger certain actions. And there's a bunch of accordion and tabs and those kind of things, and sliders that are being built on Alpine now. Those only exist for Alpine 3. So there is some added value there. And then performance-wise, we saw that the really complicated cases, if you build something complex with Alpine 3 performs better. But the bundle of baseline. Alpine 3 is slightly, the baseline is slightly higher. So on a really simple page, the performance is slightly, it depends on the use case, but it was inconsistent. You couldn't just say like upgrading to Alpine 3 is always for every page necessarily better or worse, but the differences were also quite small. But yeah, we saw on the more complex pages that it became better. Yeah.
I think the main benefit is for developers. Some features like being able to access the parent component scope, that's a lot of people want that and ask that. So that's going to make developers' life a lot easier, I think. And probably that's why most people will upgrade, I believe.
Yeah, those nested components, that's a Alpine 3 feature. That's really cool, because we had a lot of issues working around that initially. We solved that with events and some trickery on nested,
The workarounds are documented if you're interested, but it will be a lot easier in Alpine 3 where you can just access the parent stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, probably more things we could share, but let's be mindful of attention span and see if we can do another one sometime soon, and maybe show a little bit more of the checkout, other things coming up.
Yeah. We can do one about what's up next sometime soon too. So lots to talk about.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching, listening. Let us know if there's things that we missed or you would like to see explained. We can take it to the next video. Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vinai.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.